Hi, I'm Piotr. It's nice to have you here. And today, in this video, I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence and intellectual property rights, and more specifically, a relation between artificial intelligence and intellectual property. Artificial intelligence is becoming a more frequent phenomenon nowadays and is becoming an integral part of our life. That's why it is a profound question whether artificial intelligence, which produces different works, may have intellectual property rights. But before we go to answer that question, we have to uh, systemize some basic concepts to understand the essence of all these deliberations. So first we have to answer the question, what intelligence means. Before we go to artificial intelligence, we have to answer the question, what a regular intelligence means, intelligence that humans have. There is no unified definition in this respect, but most commonly we understand humans' intelligence as the ability to understand things, the ability to reason, to learn, to plan, and to use the knowledge obtained from different sources in a creative and innovative way. So intelligence means that we know how to use the knowledge, we know how to use the data that we collected, and we do it on purpose. And if it comes to artificial intelligence, things get complicated because we have completely no single definition, but variety of definitions on artificial intelligence, and they are all different. And again, most commonly, artificial intelligence is understood as kind of a technology. It may be a quantum computer that uses different kinds of algorithms and neural networks to analyze, to process information, and to perform some tasks which are intended to imitate human behaviors and to imitate human intelligence. So these may be some complicated or not even complicated tasks which require a large amount of data which then needs to be processed and calculated. And that is the overall meaning of artificial intelligence. But does it mean intelligent? And that is another profound question because here we have provocative question. Is artificial intelligence really intelligent? We tend to put that word intelligent into many objects that we use on a regular daily basis. We have intelligent cars, we have intelligent systems, we have intelligent fridges, we have intelligent houses, and we even have intelligent washing powder, which removes greasy stains, as the commercial says, in an intelligent way. But we simply exaggerate and we simply overuse that term intelligent because we want things to behave the way humans behave. But that's not the way it works. And intelligence means something else. It's not just making the use of knowledge, but it is also some kind of wisdom. And there is a difference between the knowledge and wisdom. So the knowledge refers to some abilities, some skills, well, to some data that was collected. So we have knowledge, how to do things. But the wisdom refers to something else. We are doing that on purpose. We are doing things because we know how to do that on purpose to make our lives happier, to make our lives more comfortable. And that is a difference. And there is something that stands behind it. That is the consciousness. And that is the elementary question that we have to answer in this respect, because the consciousness is something which seems to be quite mysterious, although it is the object of a scientific dispute right now in many areas, in many fields. And consciousness makes us think and makes us know that we think. So we are aware of thinking. So not only we know how to do things properly because we have knowledge and we have intelligence, but we are aware of that and we have some drivers, some triggers, some motives to do that. And that is something that we may call consciousness, and that is the essential element of human nature. And now, if we refer it to artificial intelligence, things become more complicated. Artificial intelligence is enabled to work in a specific way and to uh, do some tasks which were ordered to artificial intelligence to do, but it hasn't got the awareness of doing that. So the artificial intelligence may produce some pictures, some videos, may produce some texts, and many other things. But does it know that it is doing that? That is the question that we have to answer, and it is not so easy to answer the question. So, as I told you, we have a broad dispute in this respect, but we have to keep it in mind that intelligent or artificial intelligence is not what we consider intelligence. So it is just a simple explanation of a certain behavior of things that we want to behave in a conscious way, but they do not behave in the conscious way. Is my computer conscious? I don't believe so, although many scientists would claim that it may be conscious because we have quantum physics, which tends to explain it in a scientific way, but we do not have much time for this dispute right now, so I'm leaving that question to think it over, but it is really inspiring. Okay, so we are moving on. Here we have some works which may be potentially created by artificial intelligence. So, as we know, it may be anything. So, it may be photography, videos, some texts, some music, maybe generated by artificial intelligence. We may have some strategies for companies, some graphics, some designs, games. We may even talk about some inventions because artificial intelligence may be extremely helpful in inventing things. Different applications, screenplays. So there is a variety of works which are created by artificial intelligence. We have different applications, we have different ways to generate those works. We have GPT Chop, Midjourney, and many more, which may produce things that imitate photography, or which is a photography, but it is not created by humans, but by the algorithm. And the question is whether all these works are covered with intellectual property rights. And that is the essential question, because we have a regular definition for intellectual property. And that definition states that intellectual property is understood as a product of human mind, which is strongly based on our mind work, yes, and it is then presented in a material form. So it may be anything. So it may be something that is recorded, which is written down, which is painted. So it may be literally anything, like a piece of literature, which is a work expressed with words. It may be a painting, it may be a drawing, it may be graphics, it may be a video, it may be music, the sound. So that is the work. Or it may be the invention, which is a specific object which was invented. So it did not exist before, but it was invented. So these are the products of intellectual property, which are produced by our minds. So they are materialized in a specific form. And if we are talking about companies, they are called intangible assets because they are the element of the company's property. But generally, we have to focus on that mental aspect of those works. And the works are covered with copyrights, while inventions are covered by industrial property rights. And here we have the question whether this definition fits in artificial intelligence. So we have some products like videos or like text which was produced by artificial intelligence algorithm. And the key word which we have to use here is the author. So the law is quite precise in this respect. Answering the question who the author is, we have to point to a natural person. So according to legal regulations, both domestic and international regulations, only natural persons, which are human beings, can be the authors, unlike animals or nature. So the animal may accidentally create a work. So a monkey may accidentally paint something, but we do not believe it is a work which is covered by intellectual property rights. Or nature is also a wonderful creator, yes? So it creates a lot of beautiful things like, well, rain, snow, whatever. So these are natural phenomena, but they are not covered with intellectual property rights. So the author may only be a person. And now we have to answer the question whether artificial intelligence may be regarded as the author. So according to today's current legal regulations, it's not yet possible. And if we have some works which were generated by artificial intelligence, they are most commonly regarded as public domain. So they belong to everyone. There are no intellectual property rights. There are no copyrights. There are no industrial property rights because the artificial intelligence, meaning the algorithm, is not the author. It is the artificial intelligence, and it is kind of a phenomenon, but it is not a separate being. It is not a separate creature which has got the awareness of a creation, which has the awareness of creating works, meaning it hasn't got the consciousness that I was talking previously. And that is the key to understand that phenomenon. And we are coming back to that question of consciousness because the author, who is a human being, is aware of doing the works, has got the ability to recognize its intellectual contribution, which is of mental nature. Artificial intelligence hasn't got that consciousness yet. Therefore, it cannot be regarded the author. And I don't believe we have any good reasons to believe otherwise. We have good enough reasons to believe that artificial intelligence hasn't got that awareness, consciousness, therefore it cannot be the author. So we have some works, like photos, like videos, like texts, which are floating in the internet. And these are just the works which have not the author, and they belong to the public domain. We may have some exceptions, which is really worth mentioning because we may have some personal contribution into creation of it, but I will answer the question a little bit later because we have something that is worth attention. It is a scientific dispute on consciousness, which is carried out in different fields. And number of sciences are involved in this dispute. We have quantum physics, we have neurobiology, medicine, philosophy, even theology, computer engineering, which attempt to answer the question on consciousness. So far, they do not compromise. The most profound dispute, scientific dispute, is in philosophy, not necessarily in philosophy, but philosophy plays an essential role here, and it is a dispute between materialism and analytical idealism, which is really mind-opening. Again, we do not have enough time to discuss it, but I'm just pointing to this question because it is really stunning. And I'll only say one thing, that materialism believes that consciousness is a product of the brain. And it means that when the brain, biological brain, dies, all the consciousness disappears. So this is essentially the end, and literally the end. No memories, no sensations, no feelings, nothingness. While analytical idealism believes that consciousness is something external, and our brains are just the receivers. So the consciousness exists beyond the death of the biological brain. But that's enough. That's it. What I'm going to say right now, as we do not have too much time for that. We have to carry on to the conclusion. So, artificial intelligence most commonly is not regarded as the author. It cannot create intellectual property apart from humans. That's why it hasn't got any copyrights. But we have some exceptions. If a work was created by a human who was supported by artificial intelligence, so the human being was creating a work using the algorithm which was guided by a human being, and there is a significant intellectual input into this work, we may consider intellectual property rights which are granted to a human being, not to the artificial intelligence algorithm, but to a human being. So each case is different, and we have to consider each case separately because there is no single definition for that. So things may get complicated. So it's a perfect area for lawyers. I'm personally a lawyer. So the lawyers may have different concepts and different opinions in this respect, depending on circumstances. But that conclusion is important. Generally, artificial intelligence hasn't got any intellectual property rights, but if it is supported by a human being on purpose, and a human being is guiding the tool, which is artificial intelligence, intellectual property rights may arise. And here to summarize all these deliberations, I'm giving you some advice, because we are living in a specific world and we have to be very careful, and we don't always have to believe what we see. We have to be careful about deep fakes and all these things which are going to mislead us. And we have to be skeptical. We have to protect our personal data and privacy. You always have to verify the sources. You have to be very, very critical, and you have to use your common sense. So that's